Hola chicos, hoy hablamos del imperfecto. El imperfecto es el otro uso del pasado. So, ¿cuándo usamos el imperfecto? So, the imperfecto is used to express repeated habitual actions or events in the past. Por ejemplo, él hacía la cena con frecuencia, meaning he frequently made dinner. So this was something that he did frequently, repeated in the past, imperfect. También, abuelita iba al mercado todos los días. So, she went to the market every day. Every day, repeated event in the past. Celebrábamos la fiesta cada año. This was something we did every year. So, it was repeated, therefore imperfect. You'll notice the words in blue, or the phrases in blue, those are key phrases for the imperfect. When you see those, you know to use el imperfecto. El imperfecto is also used to describe persons, places, events, weather, and time in the past. La muchacha era alta y fuerte. So we don't know for how long she was tall and strong, but we know that she was. So we would use the imperfect. We're describing her. Tenía 16 años. This is an event that was ongoing in the past. She or he or I was 16 for a whole year. Therefore, we use the imperfect. Another description. Y hacía mal tiempo. Weather, so the imperfect is used. Y finalmente, el imperfecto is used to describe mental processes such as creer, to think or believe, querer, to want or to love, saber, to know. So we talk about the imperfect being used for repeated habitual actions, ongoing things in the past. That's why we use it with mental processes, because these don't really have a specific beginning and end. They kind of come and go, so we use them with the imperfect. Un ejemplo, ella jugaba fútbol y siempre quería ganar. So, ella jugaba fútbol is in the imperfect because it doesn't have a specific beginning or end. It's something repeated in the past. And then siempre quería ganar because she always wanted to win. This was always how she felt in the past. It was a mental process. It didn't have a specific beginning and end. Imperfecto. So, how do we form the imperfect? Es fácil. Muy fácil. The AR verb endings look like this. Yo ends in aba. Tú, abas. El, ella, usted, aba otra vez. Nosotros, habamos. Don't forget your accent on the first A. Vosotros, habáis. Ellos, ellas, ustedes, haban. Fácil. Cuando yo era niña, yo jugaba mucho con mi hermana. Here, I'm using two verbs in the imperfect. Era, because I'm talking about my childhood, when I was a child. This was an ongoing, habitual event in my past. Yo jugaba mucho is saying that I played often or a lot with my sister, because mucho can be a key word in the imperfect because it means something that happened often, which lets us know it was repeated. We use the imperfect. Cada Navidad, nosotros bailábamos. Here, the imperfect is used because I'm talking about every Christmas. This was a repeated event in the past. We danced. Cada año llevaba un disfraz de Noche de Brujas. Again, I'm using the imperfect here because I'm talking about every year, repeated actions in the past. Our endings for ERI, our verbs in the imperfect, are also pretty simple. They all have an accent, so make sure you include your accent. Yo form, ia. Tú, ias. El, ella, usted, ia. Nosotros, íamos. Vosotros, iáis. Ellos, ellas, ustedes, ian. You'll notice that just like in the AR verb endings, the yo and the el, ella, usted forms are the same. So you'll either be able to figure that out by context, or you will need to include a pronoun when using the imperfect tense. Yo corría en un equipo. Using the imperfect in this sentence lets you know that this was an ongoing action in the past. It tells you that this wasn't something I did for one day or even 1 week, but it was something I did repeatedly. In my case, I ran on a team for 10 years. Pero I don't specify in my sentence, so it's in the imperfect. You don't know the beginning or ending time. En la universidad vivía en una casa con 6 chicas. The imperfect is used in this sentence to let you know that this was also an ongoing event in the past. En la universidad is my time frame, but it doesn't tell you specifically when it began or ended or for how long of that time that I lived with these other 6 girls. So the imperfect is used because it was an ongoing event in the past. Haber. Haber, remember, we mainly see in the present tense as hay, meaning there is or there are. In the preterite, we learned that we see it as hubo. And in the imperfect, we see it as había. Había fuegos artificiales durante la fiesta. This is a really good verb to know, and that's why I'm teaching it to you in all the forms right now, because I want you to be able to use it when you want to say there is or there are, whether in the past, preterite, the past imperfect, or the present tense. One really nice thing about the imperfect is that there are only 3 irregular verbs. That's right. No more of the preterite with all of those crazy irregulars. Imperfect is simple. You have the 2 regular endings and you have 3 irregular verbs. That's it. So, ir is of course one of our irregulars because ir is pretty much always irregular. So, this is how it looks in the imperfect. Iba, ibas, iba, íbamos with an accent, ibais, iban. Here, the black forms of the verb are the singular and the red ones are plural. Iba en vacaciones con mi familia cada verano. Here the imperfect is used because I'm using the phrase cada, and cada lets us know that it was every summer, meaning it was a repeated action in the past. Ser, también irregular, como casi siempre. So, these are the conjugations for ser. Era, eras, era, éramos, erais, eran. Again, the only accent is on the nosotros form. Cuando era niña, yo era muy salvaje. Es chistoso. Here, era is used because I am describing myself in the past. Wild. Un poquito. And finalmente, ver. Yo veía, tú veías, él, ella, usted veía, nosotros veíamos, vosotros veíais, ellos, ellas, ustedes veían. Ver is irregular here because you keep the E. Normally you remove both of the letters in the root, but in this case we keep the E and we have the irregular ver. Ok, aquí es tu práctica. Buena suerte.